Alright, in this example I have a diagram of an oblique triangle. We have our two main formulas that we're going to deal with, the angle sum formula for a triangle and the law of sines. I also have three given pieces of information. Angle A is 52 degrees, angle B is 87 degrees, and side A is 32 feet. Okay? And so what we're going to do is try to find the other three missing pieces of information, side B, side C, and angle C. Alright? So now to do that, the first thing I would do is I've got two angles here. I can easily find the third angle by using the angle sum formula. Okay, so I would just plug in the first two angles, leave C as unknown, so 52 plus 87 plus C equals 180. I add 52 and 87 together. 9 would be a 139. And then subtract the 139 off. And so C must equal, what's that, 41 degrees. Okay, there's our first answer. C equals 41 degrees. Okay. Now that I've established all three angles, I now have to find B, little b and little c, the two missing sides. Now, one thing to note is that you cannot use Pythagorean theorem because Pythagorean theorem only works for right triangles, so we have to use the law of sines. Okay. And the trick with the law of sines is I always have to take a ratio where I know both the top and the bottom. Okay. In this case, I know both big A and little a, so I can use this ratio A over sine A and compare it to one of the other two. Okay, we'll take them one at a time. So let's do, because big B is given, let's do B over B. So I'm going to take, we're going to take 32 over the sine of 52 degrees equals B we don't know and sine of 87, right? Big B is 87. So I just fill in the numbers I know. Then this is a proportion. Now with proportions, there's a couple different ways to solve. One is you could multiply both sides by the LCD. Okay, that would work, but it's a little bit quicker, gets you to the same place, to just cross multiply. Okay, so with proportions you can cross multiply. It'd be B times the sine of 52 equals 32 times the sine of 87. Okay. Now to solve for B, I would have to divide out the sine of 52. You could type that into your calculator. You're going to get a nasty decimal there, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to write that decimal or round it off somewhere. So I'm going to keep the rounding till the end and just work with that sine expression. Alright, so I have 32 times sine 87 divided by sine 52. Now I go to my calculator and I'm going to type that in and make sure that I'm in degree mode, which I am. Okay, so then I go 32 times the sine of 87 divided by the sine of 52. Alright, and you're going to get 40.55. So these cancel off. So B is equal to 32 sine 87 over the sine of 52, which is approximately 40.55. Or I think it's best when we're solving these that we round to the same place as the original numbers that are given. So in our case, none of these numbers are rounded to the 10th or further. They're all rounded to the nearest whole number. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll call that 41 feet. Okay. best to not include any more accuracy than what we know. So we'll say that B is approximately 41 feet. Now, we're going to use the same process with the law of sines to find side C. Okay. Now, you could do B's and C's or A's and C's together. It doesn't matter, except that we rounded to find B. I would prefer to not use any rounded values, so I'm going to go back to the original A's because those were given and not rounded. Okay, so we'll go with that. So we'll take little a is 32 over the sine of 52 equals little c, which is unknown, over the sine of big C, and big C is 41 degrees. Now 41 degrees was not rounded, so that's a good value to stick with. Okay. Now when I cross multiply this, we'll get the same sort of structure as we had before. It'll be C times the sine of 52 equals 32 times the sine of 41. And of course I'm running a little bit low on room over here, but then I divide out the sine of 52, so it'll be C equals 32 sine of 41 degrees over the sine of 52 degrees. And so we're going to go ahead and punch that into the calculator also. 32 sine 41 divided by the sine of 52. And that should give us approximately, it says 26.64, but again, we're going to round that to the nearest whole number because that's what we started with. We're all whole number values, and so we're going to say that's approximately 27 feet. Okay, so utilizing the law of sines, we're able to come up with a B value of 41 feet approximately and a C value of approximately 27 feet. Now, just something to keep in mind as you go through these problems. With any triangle, the largest side will always be opposite the largest angle. The smallest side will always be opposite the smallest angle, and relatively that will always be the case. Now here, just to make note of this, of my three angles, angle B is obviously the largest. So of my three sides, 32, 41, and 27, side B is my largest. Angle C, angle C is the smallest, and side C is the smallest. So that works out. It's always a nice check. If that ends up not being the case, then you probably made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so the smallest side should be opposite the smallest angle, the largest side opposite the largest angle, and the medium side opposite the medium angle, right, out of those. Alright, so that pretty much covers everything for this type of problem, but again, we're utilizing just these two formulas to solve all the rest of the unknown information about the triangle.